It's pretty hot with the city right now. The federal government has put some money behind the idea of having 6 units as of right to build across the city in what's called the Yellowbelt. And right now, the city's just approved 9 of the 27 boroughs. So we're not quite there, but it's a positive step. And we're hoping, quite honestly, by just talking about this and talking about how interesting this is and how much demand we think there's going to be for this, that hopefully the city gets going and let's get rolling on these type of developments. All right. Okay. So when do I have to sit down? 10.
You're going to hear from investors who've made the jump from single family into this space. You're going to hear from experts in finance, design, construction, and each one of them is going to help add value to this space. Each speaker brings a different perspective, but together they will help you form a full picture and understanding about how you can succeed in multiplex investing. So here's my challenge for everybody tonight. Pay attention to the numbers, because at the end of the day, they prove that the opportunity is real. But more importantly, pay attention to the people. Shake hands, swap business cards, ask good questions. The people you meet in this room could be the difference between a project that stalls and a project that changes your life.
So, my name is Daniel Foch. I'm the host of Canada's #1 real estate podcast with the wonderful gentleman that you just met over there. I'm also a real estate broker, and so I do a lot of transaction work with people who are trying to do this stuff every single day. I'm joined here by Craig. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Craig Race. I'm an architect that mostly focuses on multiplexes. We also have a construction company that builds Laneway houses and garden suites. And really my perspective on the whole industry is that it's amazing. Like, we've seen more progress in policies and the roadblocks being cleared in even the last month than we have in my entire career previously. So we're seeing an acceleration and a change, and the goalposts are moving in a way that's like really good for someone like me to take advantage of.
For sure. The goalposts may be widening, not just moving.
Moving closer, because I'm assuming I'm kicking a field goal, but yeah, make it slower.
Chris?
So I'm Christopher Langley from Torrey Planning and Management. I'm a planner by trade, but I've been working with land developers and owners for the better portion of 15 years, working them through the development approvals process, kind of navigating all the hurdles, cutting all that red tape, as Councilor Bradford would say, and trying to get everybody through the process of delivering projects that are meaningful. And one of the reasons why I got into it is that we're essentially developing projects where it's gentle infill in already existing neighborhoods to allow people to work in the places that live in the places that they work, that their kids go to school. It allows for opportunities for people to live in various neighborhoods within Toronto that would otherwise be inaccessible if it was just a single detached unit or a condo downtown. So it's offering a product that may not necessarily be, or is very accessible to many people within the city.
Thanks, Brian.
I'm Brian Dorr. I'm Dorr Capital RealAlt, and we provide investment opportunities through RealAlt to actually invest in the financing of multiplexes. We have a small mortgage fund that actually supplies construction finance and development financing for these. We've done 4 of them already, so I guess we're pretty new, and each one has been different so far. I think the one we're about to complete is a new 4+1. I've been in the real estate business on the finance side for over 30 years, and I've seen the 90s, the thousands. This is a very, very unique opportunity. I've never seen anything like it. I've worked in affordable housing. I've seen different iterations of government programs, worked for CMHC. This is a very unique opportunity, and when I started hearing about this, I had to get involved.
Thanks, man. Daniel.
I'm Daniel Kaminski. I'm currently a senior planner in community planning in the Development Review Division at the City of Toronto. In my day job and side of desk duties, I was the lead of the Multiplex monitoring program, which monitored the implementation and the uptake of multiplexes citywide since they were approved up to 4 units in May of 2023. I can't take the glory for bringing multiplexes through an approval process citywide. We do have the former chief planner in the audience right now. You could try and find him later on. Thank you to him for the progressive mindset. But I think multiplexes are truly coming forward in a very meaningful way. The monitoring report shed a lot of light on the uptake of multiplexes. We just looked at a sample from May of 2023 to November of 2024, and we had 452 multiplex building permits that were issued, which resulted in 1,300 units citywide, total units. And since then, we've had another 1,000 building permits that have been applied for, many of which are issued. So we're definitely seeing a lot of uptake and a lot of new housing opportunities for people in neighborhoods where people could not necessarily see themselves living there. So I think there's a lot of positive outcomes from the approval in 2023.
How do we pick a site where it does check a lot of the boxes that Daniel just mentioned, where it shouldn't be an incredibly difficult process to get it approved? Brian, anything? I know you can apply a bit more of a financing lens to it, so obviously, what projects are gonna acquire well from a planning perspective, but also from a financing perspective is the highest success rate, right?
Okay, so I'm going to be a bit more old school. We were talking about when I came to the real estate business, there was no school for real estate, so I had to get my realtor license, even though I didn't want to be a realtor. I had to go to different courses. There's nothing wrong with the realtors. I wanted to be a finance guy, but I didn't know anything about real estate. But one of the things I did learn is location. So the thing I would be focusing on if I were a developer, which will sit well with the lenders, is stuff along transit corridors. I think the city wants that as well, but I mean it actually makes sense because you'll end up with better rents, which means you'll end up with better financing and you'll have a more profitable project. The other thing you have to be cognizant of is trying to find neighborhoods where where the rent and the price you're paying for that property, which is going to likely have a house on it, but you have to take it down. And I'm just using averages here, but you need to find properties that are about $1 million, give or take. And if you can do that in locations that are acceptable, then I think you got a winner. But I think some of these other tricks where you can up the density and get creative, I'm all over that. I love that stuff. So.
Yeah, and the basic start there is Toronto, East York, because you can do a 6-plex instead of a 4-plex, major streets, and MTSAs. It's that simple as that is going to allow you to have a location that's superior to anything in Scarborough, North York, or Etobicoke, or otherwise. But those policies that are allowing us to do this are starting to get hyper-focused, and they're pretty easy to geographically isolate.
The big thing that we talked about on the pre-panel was kind of process optimization. And I think nobody probably looks at these files with greater scrutiny than you, Brian, where you're seeing these, you have to see every single line item, all the quantity surveying, et cetera. When we talk about, and I'm just going to group together a lot of these questions, what are the things that people need to focus on doing right, and what are the things that could go wrong? So you're kind of number one thing that people need to do well, and then the number one biggest risk.
Okay. Number one thing is have enough money. You'd be surprised at how many people try this, no money. But aside from that,
what is enough money, I guess, in today's?
I'm going to say you want to have at least, at least 25% in, maybe 50% in, 60% in. You don't know what you're going to run into. You need some net worth outside, liquid. That will pretty much ensure you're going to be successful because you can't plan for what you don't know. And that happens in every project. I haven't seen that not happen. And I've worked on every level with every single builder, the best in the country, and everything. There's overruns that cause problems, there's overruns that don't. The ones that don't are the ones that the people that have money. So always have a little extra. That's my number one advice. Number two is definitely pursue the DC waivers. That's an enormous savings on any P&L. And I've never seen anything like it, and that's a game changer. So you need to definitely secure that. And I don't know how the major streets are going to work, but that might be for other people. But if you want to do this and make money, I think you got to save that money.
I think major streets will work when we're back in a $1,200 a foot condo market. Just who knows?
For sure. It'll come back. But
You guys gotta go out there and start buying some pre-cons.
Yeah.
Actually, also not financially.
yeah, at this moment in time, yeah. The other is, and we're seeing it from the city and the planning department, is my number one failure that I've seen has always been in planning. People take too long to get out of the ground. If I were developing one of these, I would just figure out a way to make this as short as possible. If that, like your recommendation is right on the money. If you could minimize the amount of variances you have to, minor variances, whatever you have to do to, I know you have to do them sometimes because it's almost impossible not to, but minimize them, plan it well, go fast. Don't sit around. The biggest mistake people make in development is taking their time. Time is money. Spend more on a good builder, spend more on a good architect. Just do it right the first time, and that'll save you money. Like,
Don't overcomplicate it. Exactly what you're saying. If you have a laundry list of variances, most likely you're going to get a lot of pushback. Reduce it. Like make it only 3 or 4. Go in with exactly what you need. It's very easy to say, I'm going to do an as of right, but a lot of properties in the city of Toronto, it's just not possible for that. So minimizing the risk by reducing the amount of variances, and then not to pump the tires of everybody in the room right now, but hire the right team. That's exactly where you're going to get the most amount of efficiencies for. So you get the right architect, you get the right planner, you get the right lender, you get the right real estate agent on board. You're going to stream through these processes very, very quickly.
I think knowing where you stand with your experience is critical to determining what kind of project to undertake. Like, there is a missing middle of developer as well as technology. And one great thing that these policies are doing is they're allowing people with no experience to become developers pretty easily. So know where you stand. Like starting with an as-of-right multiplex and laneway suite is a great way to dip your toes in the water. Don't overcomplicate it. That's phase 1, and then deal with minor variances and severances and all kinds of crazy rocket stuff in phase 2. So know your limit. Play with
well, I want to add something there though. So from a finance point of view, especially construction, lenders do like to see experience, and I realize this is a complicated thing to ask for when there really has been nobody doing this for many years. But you need to have a team that has like a builder that's well recognized by lenders or is acceptable, or a partner that has transferable experience. That will help your financing go smoothly. Will also probably make your building go smoothly, which is why most finance people that are smart require that. So.
Yeah, so if you don't have the experience, make sure you bring somebody or several people in, like a team that has experience, so at least that's marketable. I mean, I know CMHC on a lot of their takeouts now is asking for that, property managers with experience, builders with experience, et cetera, because they're trying to de-risk this stuff. I'm assuming because in the background they've seen a lot of these things go sideways because of what you just mentioned. I think that's it for today, but what I would love to say to everybody is just that we just want this to be the beginning of the conversation, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's actually it's great.
Okay, again, sorry, you can continue your applause for this panel. Sorry. Very worthwhile introduction. I'll let you guys get back to your seats, and we are fortunate enough to be joined here by a friend of ours, somebody we've had on the podcast a couple of times, and someone who I would call